e-commerce business models or types of e-commerce. E-commerce business models describe how an organization captures, creates, and delivers value. So here an organization is trying to capture, is trying to create and deliver value with the help of e-commerce business models. And the different types of e-commerce business models, the first one is business to business or B2B model. In B2B transaction, there is an interaction between businesses. That is, both the buyer and the seller are business entities. So here one business firm sells its products or services to another business firm. So transaction between the manufacturer and wholesaler or between wholesaler and retailer are all examples of B2B transactions. And you can see that every company will have a B2B transaction. Whatever business they're doing, at some point of time they will do a business to business transaction. So B2B is the largest e-commerce model because huge amounts are involved and huge number of transactions takes place. So B2B is one of the largest e-commerce model. Second is business to consumer or B2C transaction, where there's an interaction between the businessmen and consumers. That is when we usually think of a buying and selling that takes place. The seller is usually the business firm and the buyer is usually the consumer. So here the businessman sells his product directly to the customers. Now here what happens is that a customer can view the product in the website of the business organization. And then the customer can choose a product and make an order. Once he places the order, the website sends a notification to the business organization, usually via email, and the organization will dispatch or deliver the products and services, products or goods, or whatever service to the customer. And one of the most popular e-commerce giant is Amazon. There are other giants like Alibaba, there is Flipkart, Meesho, Myntra, many e-commerce sites are there, and almost anything and everything is being sold through these e-commerce sites. So that is B2C transactions or business to consumer transaction. The next is consumer to business or C2B transaction. And the basic idea behind this model is that give the consumer what he wants at the price he wants. So here it is like giving the consumer what he wants at the price which the consumer wants without the merchant having to suffer public embarrassment. So it is understanding the needs of customers, and it will be better if you understand what they demand and to provide goods accordingly. Consumer places an estimate of amount he or she wants to spend for a particular service. So the customer itself is determining the price here. For example, comparison of interest rates of personal loan or car loan provided by various banks via website, and the customer can choose which one should he or she go on with. So business organization which fulfills the customer's requirements with the specified budget approaches the customer and provides its services. So Priceline.com is a company which provides airline tickets at demanded price by consumer. And it is something like when you have seen tenders and quotations, something similar to that, because the beneficiary or the consumer places a tender and quotes what is his budget, what are his requirements, and the seller places a quotation telling him that okay, this is fine with him, he can do this much work with this much funds. So here actually the consumer is initiating the transaction. Consumer is determining the funds with him and determining what should be the amount paid for the work done by the business firm. So here consumer is initiating the transaction. The next is consumer to consumer transaction or C2C. This is not very common one, and these are most visible in auction sites. That is, for example, one has something to sell and then he can get it listed at some auction site and the others can bid for it. This helps customers to sell their assets like residential property, cars, motorcycles, etc., or rent a room by publishing their information on their websites. So you know Alex, where second-hand goods are sold. So that is a good example of consumer to consumer, where the transactions are between consumers and not between any business firm or any such organization. Another consumer may opt to buy the product of the first consumer by viewing the post or advertisement on the website. So here the transaction is between consumers. The next is business to government or B to G model, is a variant of B2B model, and here websites are used by government to trade and exchange information with various business organizations. So such websites are accredited by the government and provide a medium to businesses to submit application forms to the government. As you know, in this level, services like filing of IT returns, income tax returns by corporate house, corporate taxes paid by corporates, renewal of trade license, etc. are made. So it is through this transaction, it is through this mechanism, the business is going to reveal its income, file its income tax returns, take permission and licenses from the government, pay corporate tax, etc. to the government, and that is the transaction between the business and the government. Next is the government to business or G2B model. So government uses G2B model websites to approach business organizations, and such websites support auctions, tenders, and application submission functionalities. So here you have seen in newspapers that the government publishes tenders, and business organization can place a quotation, and if the government finds it's a good one, the government can accept it. So that kind of transaction, such auctions, such tenders, and such application submission functionalities are examples of government to business transactions. And finally, government to citizen, G2C model. So government uses G2C model website to approach the citizen directly. So such website provides services like registration of birth or marriage registration, death certificates, etc. And records of land revenue, sale documents, passport, filing of IT returns again by citizens, filing of complaints, paying of bills, payment of dues, then filing of GST, etc. by individuals are some of the services that are provided by the government to the citizens, and that is G2C model.